Hi guys, Andy here. So you may have seen my unboxing of the my Samsung Galaxy Note 5. I did it just over 3 weeks ago, which is quite a long time for me to then wait to do my review. If you watched the unboxing though, you'll know that it was done in Canada. So my first day in Canada, 3 different phone shops. Finally I found one that was selling me a SIM-free Note 5. So the next 10 or 11 days I used the Note 5 as my main media device, main camera basically I suppose. I was taking photos, videos, and I basically felt that that was quite a different user experience to my regular day-to-day use of a phone. So I thought, well, I need to come back to England, back to London, use it for a period of time as a regular phone to then be able to give my full view on it, which is basically what I'm now ready to do. And I suppose the good thing is it gives me 2 different views, because some people, I'm not really a heavy user of phones. It seems weird, you know, I do lots of phone reviews, but I'm not actually a heavy user. My general day-to-day use is kind of an hour, maybe an hour and a half screen on time, where some people 4 hours a day. I don't know how you do. I've got a computer for gaming and the internet. I've got a tablet should I need to use that, and you know, well, anyway. So I now have been using it as a regular device, and so it's time for the review, so let's crack on.
So one of the interesting things was I just bought the LG G4 to use as my device while on holiday. I couldn't be sure I'd be able to buy the Note 5 when over there, maybe not until I even got to America, to Boston, which was basically sort of 3/4 of the way into my holiday. So I wanted a good device with a good battery and a great camera, so I bought the LG G4. Now, as luck would have it, yep, I was able to buy the Note 5 on day 1 in Canada. So I decided, actually, yeah, I'm going to make this my main device. I very quickly made the decision, based mainly, I suppose, on just the amazing sort of premium feel of the Note 5. Now, I had I can't remember if it's the original Note or the Note 2, and at that point it was too big for me. Didn't really consider it, sold it on. But I loved the Note 3, still one of my favourite devices. I tried the Note 4, liked it, but didn't quite like the feel of it, but was definitely wanting to try the Note 5 when it came, and I do like the feel in the hand. It's just got an amazing premium feel to it. Glass front and back. People say it's glass back. I wouldn't have guessed, to be honest. It doesn't feel, certainly when you see that, certainly smudges and smears like a glass back. So the device is 171 grams, which is actually 5 grams lighter than the Note 4. It feels thinner than the Note 4, and in fact it is. It's 2.5 mil in its width thinner than the Note 4, and it's almost a millimetre thinner at 7.6 millimetres sort of in depth than the Note 4. So it's not surprising that it feels better in the hand perhaps than the Note 4 did. Other design elements, obviously we've got the sort of the rounded edges all the way around, which I think they are a bit Apple-like, but actually, yeah, they do look great. I can't deny it looks very, very nice. The speaker at the bottom here, it's a reasonable speaker. It's not amazing, but it's not that much different to my Nexus 6, which has some of the best speakers you're going to hear. It is only one speaker, obviously not stereo, but pretty good. Then obviously the S Pen, the clicky S Pen as well. Now, I quite like that bit's clicky in itself, look. Someone put on my comments on the unboxing, I'm buying it just for the clicky pen, to be honest. And it is great. How great is that? One thing to bear in mind, don't put it in backwards. Apparently it basically breaks. It gets caught in something in there and you can't then pull it back out again. I have heard that you can get bits of paper and shove the paper down, and whatever it is that's kind of stuck out and clipped in, you can kind of push out the way so you can pull, but just don't risk it. Just be very careful. Make sure always you're putting it in the right way. One of the things that I quite like is to screen off, bring the pen out, and start writing straight away. I love that. I can just turn it back off again. That'll still be saved there. When I go in, should then get, there we go, screen off memo. I really like that. That's because it's kind of someone will say, oh, just here's my phone number, or you just, I don't know, for me at work quite often I just need to really quickly scribble down a number that I then need to go and look something up, and it's so handy just pulling the pen out and just start writing. It is also worth noting, lean on the screen. which I seem to think you couldn't do when I've tried it before. So yeah, I think personally, obviously it works like they have in the past. I can press the little button. I should be able to. There we go. Oh, it's actually hit. It's at the side there. Do my action memo and all the other things that you normally could. You can add shortcuts now as well. I don't think you could do that before. Oh, I'm just going to load them all up now. Command settings as well. Just want to double check if pressing my clicky button does anything. I thought it used to. Oh, it does. It brings it out from there. That's fine. Okay, so let's pop that back in. Now there is some kind of detection of the pen that you can turn off to enable to lengthen battery life, which I did while I was on holiday, but I've put it back on again now. So it knows when you take the pen out. And I think if we slide it back in, it knows when it goes back in. So yeah, I actually find it quite handy. I have used it several times in the 3 weeks that last week since I've been home, really, I suppose. Back onto the design now. One thing, the bezel along the edge for me is almost too thin. So there have been times I'll hold it, perhaps I'm holding it like that. You see how my hand kind of overlaps. I wonder if, oh, whoa, lots of vibrations. Just an email coming in. So you see, oh, I've had that happen to me. Whoa, what's going on? But because my hand at the very edge there has been touching the screen, because maybe I've been gripping it a bit too tight, but it's not uncommon. Same with the camera. I've brought the camera up and I've accidentally touched the edge of the screen and started focusing on something on the very edge of the screen. So almost too thin at the edge. If we move on to the actual hardware, I don't know, it's possibly the best screen on an Android right now. It is a fantastic looking screen. So it's a 5.7 inch Super AMOLED, which is 2560 by 1440, which is about 518 pixels per inch, which doesn't compare with Sony's, but Sony's new Z5, the expensive one. But I mean, 500 is plenty, surely. A lot of people still saying, I'm not far from it myself, saying actually I prefer just keep it to a 1080, especially if I get more battery life. But it is a fantastic looking screen with amazing viewing angles, bright popping colours. It's all around just amazing screen. All covered by a Corning Gorilla Glass 4. Now, one thing I realised was actually the resolution makes some things look too small. So if we head over to, there's my sort of TV watching app. That's all that text is really quite tiny. And I can't even, if I make the app full size, they all stay that same size, so it just looks a bit weird. You look over at my Beyond podcast playing widget, that just looks odd, and I can't. If I can't make it any smaller. So, you know, it just. But I think this is the launcher, because Nova. Look at that. To me, that's a lot better. Now, I mean, it is bigger, so I'm not going to fit as much on the screen, perhaps. That looks better. It's not quite as crazy a gap along the bottom. So it is to do with the TouchWiz launcher. Having said that, the rest of TouchWiz, which obviously you will... Let's go to the calculator, for example. Now, I've applied a material theme. Let's go and have a quick look at the themes, I suppose, if I'm going to talk about how it looks. Boom. Now, funnily enough, I think it was a paid theme. I bought it when I was in Canada. I can't find paid themes now. I'm back in the UK, so it's probably a good job that I did. But it is very quick and easy to switch to. So I used this Urban one for a little while just to apply that. Obviously, the Samsung theme store now is actually quite big. You know, there's a lot of people have submitted themes, because why wouldn't you? Samsung, they've got a lot of devices these days. Now, Nova Launcher did do this before, so the wallpaper's not applying properly. It's doing like I don't know, an average colour of the screen for some reason. We can obviously set a wallpaper. Oh, there he is. I don't know why set wallpaper. It doesn't look. I don't. So I switch back to TouchWiz just now. I've shown you the difference the launcher makes. So now we can see all the icons change basically with the different themes. Let's knit it back in and apply. I quite liked the high-tech theme as well. So it is quick and easy to download them. A lot of them are only sort of 1, 2, 3 meg. They apply fairly quickly. And there we go. So obviously some bits they don't, I don't know. It's got the outside bit with the icon in the middle. Other bits they've got the actual. So some of them you would hope, you've not got an icon for maps or for Chrome. There we go. So yeah, all around TouchWiz, I actually quite like. The theming works quite well. Changes all the icons at the top. The quick launch bars you can change obviously as much as, well, to whatever you want. You can have the S Finder or the Quick Connect being part of your S Finder now there, look. But yeah, so like I say, I bought the material theme, and actually I really quite like, I actually don't mind TouchWiz with the material theme applied. I won't lie, I didn't think I'd be saying that sort of if you'd asked me 2 years ago. So while it's applying, I got sidetracked a little bit, wasn't I? I was talking about hardware, and I think I was talking about the screen, and I moved on to the resolution. Right, so let's come back to the hardware. We're back now on my material theme, which I do like. I think it's very nice. So the chipset is the Exynos 7420. Samsung going their own way in that respect. It's an octa-core processor, I believe, or 2 quad-cores. There's a quad-core 1.5 GHz Cortex A53, and there's a quad-core 2.1 GHz Cortex A57. The GPU is a Mali T760 MP8. I won't lie, I'm not really sure what that means. This has 32 gig of internal storage. You can get in a 64. There is no micro SD card slot. It does have 4 gig of RAM, which I think comes in very handy in my benchmarking, and probably when you're playing games and doing other things like that. But and it takes a nano SIM card up in the top. You need obviously the ejection tool to get in there, but it takes a nano SIM up there. The last thing to mention hardware-wise is the fingerprint sensor. Obviously, it's built into the home button there now, and it's just a hold your finger on it rather than a swipe that they had initially. I say initially it was on the Note 4 or was it on the S5 we first saw that? I can't remember actually. Generally, it works pretty good, even if I change angles. Now I have programmed this finger. Let's see how well. Yeah, so I've got a little vibration, and again, maybe because you get to say 4 fingers, I've put my right thumb in twice. So even if I come at a bit of an angle, there you go, worked quite good. Let's go with the left thumb, see what happens there. Yep. Let's come back to. There you go. So as long as you cover as much of it as you can, it's normally pretty accurate. I find it's if I sort of come slightly off. There you go. Slightly off edge, that it doesn't work as well. I would say maybe 70% success rate when I turn my device on. And like I say, when it doesn't work, it's normally because I'm just not covering it properly. I'm not really giving it a fair chance. So yeah, I put this thumb on twice, and then I did this finger and that thumb. Normally it's the thumb for me that unlocks it. I definitely prefer it over a password. It's great for things like LastPass, because my password for LastPass is quite complex, and it's a lot easier if I can just go boom, and which it lets you do. And PayPal, I believe, although I don't use PayPal, you can just log in using your fingerprint. So definitely for me, it's preferable over password. I can't tell you how secure it is. I suppose I've not really tried with other people's fingers, but if mine don't work half the time, 30% of the time, then I wouldn't imagine that other people would have too much luck getting in instead. So yeah, I quite like the fingerprint sensor. Actually, I very much like it. Hopefully it gets built into more things, and I can start logging into websites and stuff with my thumb. That would be really quite handy. So I'm going to move on now to the camera. The rear-facing camera is a 16 megapixel, so it's basically 5,300 by 3,000 pixels. It does have optical image stabilization. You can see there as well the dual flash. That's also the heart rate monitor, should you wish to use it. The front-facing camera is a 5 megapixel front-facing cam. I would say generally gave pretty good results. The front-facing, obviously, well, actually no, I did. I used it quite a bit on holiday. I took quite a few selfies of me and the family, and they generally looked very good. I found that it coped quite well dealing with sort of bright lights, bright backgrounds, but still making a reasonable job of showing me and my face. The rear-facing camera, I would say, was excellent. I mean, looking through, like I say, I used it not solely, but as my main camera on holiday. I also took a DSLR, but I only really used that. Went to the sporting events, went to a baseball game, and I took my big zoom lens. And sometimes I would swear the Note 5, when I was using just other regular times, I swear the Note 5 actually gave better results than the DSLR. Obviously, it was hard for me to tell because I was looking just at the photos on the screen. I was really worried I was going to get home and I was going to see the pictures on a big monitor and think, oh my God, they're horrible pictures. But some of the photos I took, I thought were fantastic. I mean, we went out on a riverboat cruise of Toronto, and I was taking pictures of the skyline as the light faded. And the Note 5, it took some fantastic images, I thought. Much better than the DSLR could with the low light. I mean, probably you put the DSLR in the hands of a professional photographer, it'd have beaten my images. But even, I mean, I've got some knowledge of how to change the ISO settings, adjust the shutter speeds, and all to try and do better in low light. But they just couldn't compete with the Note 5, I felt. And a lot of the rest of the time I was in bright light, and I just thought generally the photos were fantastic. The video quality, very, very good. Occasionally I thought it was a little bit shaky, but on the whole, I thought fantastic results. Obviously, make your own mind up. The other thing that I thought was very handy, especially when I was on holiday, was double tapping the home key launches the camera. Like so. Which on holiday just came in handy so many times. I mean, there was a few times I was in a hurry, like, I know, an amazing looking car drove by that we don't see in our country, and I went to take a picture, bang, bang, boom. And funny enough, I did use the G4. In fact, one day I thought, let me go back to the G4 and just see how I feel with the G4, having used the Note 5 for a week. And the G4 has the volume keys on the back of it, so you could double tap down to open the camera. But it just couldn't do it at the same rate. I missed one photo of something I wanted to snap going by on the road because I just couldn't. It wouldn't open quick enough then to take the picture. Whereas that had never happened with the Note 5. I got some pictures. Normally it was just at the back of what I wanted to get the picture of, but it would open very quick snap, and I could get the picture. So that for me was a great feature. I mean, to me it's almost essential now, really. Well, not essential, but it was when I was on holiday that I had some way of quickly getting to my camera because I was taking so many pictures. I took over 1,000 photos and over 2 hours of video, so I did a lot of use with the camera. So yeah, all round I would say the camera is fantastic. There is some talk, is it the best camera on Android? I'm not sure. The G4 camera is amazing, and the front-facing camera amazing, and I think I would still give the edge to the G4. I did do a comparison video, so you could head over and have a look at that yourself and make your own mind up. Either way, definitely a fantastic camera, and I don't have any regrets that I used it as my main camera for my holiday. If we move on to the software, it's running Android 5.1.1, and like I say, with the theme applied, I could live with that. I don't need Nova Launcher. The only reason I've put Nova Launcher on was because of the sort of size of the launcher, of the widget, sorry, on the launcher. It's a shame there was not some kind of, I don't know, upsetting that I could change to change the resolution of the actual of the widgets and stuff on the launcher. I thought it was interesting Google Plus wasn't pre-installed. I know that was kind of, it's been commented on the internet, and some people said, oh, it's the death of Google Plus, it's not pre-installed on Samsung devices. I wouldn't go that far. I just thought it was quite interesting. It wasn't. It obviously only took a second then to install it myself. One thing that I did find very annoying in the launcher, and I won't really be able to show you unless I was to install something. When I install something, though, it puts it at the back of the app drawer, and you have to every time then go A to Z sort, please. And it was very annoying. I'd install something and I keep forgetting. I'm like, why isn't it there? Oh, it's at the end, isn't it? And then I would sort the thing. So that was a bit annoying for me. For those that think, oh, sometimes it's too big, I can't use it with one hand, there is an option of 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden now we've got everything we had before, but it's all in a smaller section of the screen, which I thought was quite clever. So it does, I can reach, if there was something particularly, you've got no option but to use your one hand, and you've got something else in your other hand, and you can't, I can't reach whatever's in the corner. So, I can't get to, okay, then I can get to my home button. Now I can get to it. So you can switch what side it should be on. So I just thought that was quite a clever, I think possibly that's been in the previous ones, I've just never really noticed it. And to be honest, I don't really use it myself. But some people might want that. We'll move on to the battery. So it's a non-removable LiPo 3000 milliamp hour battery, which is obviously a reasonable size. It's fairly standard in most big devices these days, 3000 milliamp hours. It does have wireless charging, which actually came in really, really handy while I was on holiday. So I was worried because we'd come out and I'd forgot my battery charger to charge my phone, and we've come into Starbucks. PowerUpHere.com. It charges my phone. Ideal. We'll stay here for a few hours then. So, I mean, it did. I mean, the reason we used to take the mobile battery out with us when we went out on holiday was because, well, definitely my battery was taking a hammering. I was taking, like I said, I took over 1,000 photos, 2 hours of video. It was just the device did struggle to keep up with me basically, and it would be telling me I've got sort of 9 hours battery use. So I'd unplug for 100%, and let me show you. And it would say, well, you've got about 9 hours use. I've got how much? Yeah, I know, calm down. So because of that, we used to take mobile battery out with us so we could plug it in for an hour or two if needed when we're out and about, just to give it that bit of a boost. I think the G4 said it does as well, but basically estimates on your last 7 days of usage. So that was another reason why I wanted to come home, use it for 7 days, and then get a better idea of how well the battery lasts. So now it's basically on the last 7 days of normal use. So my screen on time already today is an hour, which for me is quite a lot. I've been to the gym. I use it quite a lot when I'm at the gym. It's playing music all the time. It's through Bluetooth. I'm using it to track my weights and such. So that's a reasonably heavy day. But at the same time, I have had a day where I used it in the morning at the gym fairly heavily, went off to work, came home. I plugged it into my Zero Lemon to charge overnight, but it didn't hardly charge it at all because I didn't know I was testing the Zero Lemon battery to failure, to empty, and overnight it went to empty. So I basically only got a few percentage of charge. Realised in the morning, so I plugged it in for about 40 minutes, some of it on the fast charge, only about 10 minutes on the fast charge. I did a 30 minutes into a different mobile battery while I was using it because I was making my breakfast and such. And I got it back up to about 95% in that short period of time. Then it easily lasted me through the day to the end of the night when I think it was back down at about 40-odd%. So generally, the battery, I would say, is very good, even if you're a heavy user. I mean, you probably couldn't use it as heavily as I was when I was on holiday, and it was lasting me, or it should have lasted 9 hours or so. So even if you're a really heavy user, it should last 12 to 14 hours. I mean, some people have been talking about it lasting 2 days, this, that, and the other. I'm not as light a user as that, or maybe it's because I've got more apps installed, it gives it more usage than that. But still, a very good battery. The quick charge really does make a difference. And I've been talking recently with somebody on one of the videos about sort of what's the next breakthrough for mobile devices. The screens are amazing, the cameras are amazing, even the processors and the RAM. It's all, what more do we need? Well, actually, battery is the next step. They haven't really advanced battery technology for a long time, but they have advanced to sort of the quick charge element, and that really does make a difference. If you can plug in, I was thinking I should start testing them where I charge for just 30 minutes every day and see how many days a device lasts, because with a quick charge in 30 minutes you can get from probably 50, I'm guessing from 50% to full probably in 30 minutes. We also have you've got a power saving mode, which basically just sort of lessens the screen on time, dims the screen a bit, cuts down some of the background apps, lowers the CPU rate. Or we've got ultra power saving mode, so it tells us the estimate usage on ultra power saving 1.4, but it does do quite a lot of basically let's go ahead and enable. It really does, basically it cripples your phone. It turns it all black and white. It lowers the, well, you can see, look, but it does say it can't apply when it's got a theme applied. So unapply the theme, then put us into ultra power saving mode, as we see there. So now I can still phone, text, I can even use the internet, but if I tap there, you see I've got very limited. So yeah, I might want the calculator still, I probably want the clock, and maybe I want Facebook or Google+, but there's no camera, for example. So the times where I was hammering my battery on holiday, I would love to have been able to use ultra power saving mode, but still have the camera. Whereas they've obviously decided, well, you can't ultra power save if you can use the camera. Which is, I don't know, it's a bit of a shame. Surely they could have made a way to make it work. But essentially it turns your device into a dumb phone. But that's no bad thing. If you've got no way of charging, you're stuck out in the sticks, no way, and you might not be able to ring someone or text somebody. whack it in ultra power saving mode and stretch whatever battery you've got left as long as you can.
So there we go. What is there not to like about the Note 5? I mean, even TouchWiz, which was often people's big knock on Samsung devices, really isn't that. You know, I can live with that now, as long as you can whack that material theme on it. And there was a dark material theme that I think was free if you can't get the paid ones. The no micro SD card, a lot of people say that's a deal breaker. I'm not interested now. And actually, the amount of footage, video footage I was taking, I did soon fill up my phone within about 5 or 6 days, it only being the 32 gig version. But then I'm backing up to OneDrive every time I connected to Wi-Fi. So everything was backed up to that day that I realised I was actually running low. So I just started deleting off whole video. And before you know it, I'd freed up loads of space again. So to me, cloud is the answer to that problem. It did fix that problem. Then you've got the battery. It's not removable, and I won't lie, it would have been great if I could have just bought a spare battery and then just not even worry about it unless I get down to 20%, 15%, power down, new battery in, power back up again, whole new start. I would have liked that, I won't lie, but portable mobile batteries, rapid fast charging, wireless charging in coffee shops, it's not as big an issue as I think it used to be, basically. So the 3 big knocks on it, I think there's answers to all of them, basically, is what I think. I had to make the decision between the Note 5 and the LG G4, and I think really I went with the Note 5 just because of the premium feel of the device, the quality feel of it, the amazing screen. Yes, the G4 had the slightly better camera, I think, many may disagree, and I think it had better battery life. But then everything else around the Note 5, the S Pen, it is useful to me. The speaker actually was better on the G4 as well. There were lots of things that were telling me, my brain was telling me, you probably should keep the G4. For my own uses, it's probably the slightly better device. But then there's just such a nice feel to it. And it does have some of those elements like the S Pen that the G4 didn't. All around, I think it's just a really nice device. I think so far, I probably think it's one of the better Note devices, and I loved the Note 3. The Note 5 possibly even better than that in my eyes. So there you go. I'm quite a fan of the Note 5. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll catch you all again soon.